Hey, 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 Dr. Minesha here, affectionately known as Dr. M. And I always have the absolute pleasure to be in the lounge with some of the top leaders in the planet. I'm so excited and honored to be able to share space with Richshaunda Taylor on today. Thank you so much for coming to the lounge. It's so good to have you.
Thank you so much. It is an honor and a privilege to be on this platform with you. And thank you for reaching out to me. And I'm thanking God for the connection.
Absolutely. Now, where are you coming from? Where are you visiting that's from in the lounge? What part of the world?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Yes,
Right.
smack dab in the middle.
You born and raised or just life brought you there?
Nope, born and raised.
That's raised.
Yes,
Awesome.
ma'am.
All right. Well,
Yes,
it's such an honor to be able to have conversation. For those of you who are listening for the very first time, I do not know how our paths crossed, but one thing I do know is that I'm so glad that it did. I know that
yes,
our conversations are very intentional, and that's why this is a sacred yet strategic place where we get to have real conversations with real leaders who are serious about real transformation. And so I have absolutely no idea what Shonda is going to say. She has absolutely no idea what I'm going to say. And so we really love it that way because it really gives us an opportunity to let us listen and in tune to ourselves. And this is what Peace Driven Leader is all about, tapping into our inner selves and saying what we believe your soul needs to hear. And so with that being
yes,
said, lean in, hear from our stories, our conversations, see where you can fit in, see where what we say is resonating with you. And that is the edge of your next growth leadership. That is your moment. Even those things that ruffle your feathers a little bit, certain words, certain ideologies, be curious, lean in. Don't go in the chats and try to give your perspective. This is about thought leadership. It's about bringing new concepts and elevating old ones, unlearning some things, and really tap into the next version of ourselves. So, with that being said, let's dive right into the conversation. Let's start with just you. Who are you? What are some cool things you've been able to achieve thus far in your journey? All the things.
Oh, awesome. Yes. So I am a wife. I am a homeschooling mom of 8. I have graduated.
What? Schooling mom of
Yes.
8?
Yes,
Hey,
map
listen, without even knowing all the details, that's a
Yes.
mic drop moment right there. Did you hear what she said?
Yes.
Everybody who's listening on podcast Apple, you can't see how beautiful she is, but her face is glowing, her teeth, she's just glowing, and she has 8 children who she's with most of the time of the day. That's a
Yes.
whole listen. You get a badge in my book and a trophy.
It has been work, but it has been so worth it. I have graduated 4 of them. I'm graduating my 5th one next month, and she's already started her dual enrollment, almost done with her first year of college. She has a full ride for competitive cheer. And then I have 3 baby boys to go. So that is probably one of my biggest, most sacred, most important accomplishments of my life.
Yeah.
I'm also a grandmommy of a 1-year-old beautiful baby girl who is everything and gets everything. Um, my background is education. I am a teacher. I was in the classroom for 10 years. And then, unfortunately, I had to resign to care for my father. And then about 5 years ago, I got into financial education and literacy, specifically for our community of people and really trying to change the trajectory and narrative and mindset of what people think money is, what people think legacy is, and just give an open eye view and open mindsets to a new way of thinking. In that industry, my first year in, my first full 12 months in, I made over 6 figures and was able to change not only my family's lives, but the lives of other people
You
with the
go,
networking and
girl.
connecting and education of financial literacy. And so my
Yeah.
whole mission, my whole narrative is to get in front of people. Right now, I'm in a space of what's called the sandwich generation, caring for my mother now, caring for my kids, creating, building a business, educating other people, doing it all. And I'm an only child. So my mission, yes, yeah, yep,
You are just loading me up. Like, we only have 30 minutes, and I'm like, I see so many pathways of conversation with you.
yeah,
So this
yeah,
is incredible. First of all,
Absolutely.
I
Thank
just
you.
have to pause to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. This is what it means when I say peace-driven leadership. There is just no way that you could carry all of that, right? Unless you had a secret weapon of peace. This just
Yes.
doesn't happen, right? So I
Yes.
already know when a person talks to me and they look the way you look and they're talking with this soberness and this clarity and this joy and this inner energy, I know that they've cracked the code. And that's because they found a reservoir. Without me even knowing you as well, I know that you have a peace place. You have that place
Yes.
that you go to and that you pour into yourself. And that is so imperative to amplify you all and have more global conversations around because this world is getting ready to get you think it feels chaotic now.
Mm.
My, it's getting ready to
Hold
get
on.
more heavy, right? It's gonna be intense because the way in which our brains are processing and the speed in which it's happening is so fast, even more than our body is intuitively designed to take in. It's just a lot. And we're gonna have to get back in the power seat and put ourselves in environments that are going to keep us at a calm state, right?
Absolutely.
That's on us. And this is how you're able to produce and you said a couple of things and I'm just gonna I'm gonna jump in with questions but the thing that really reigns supreme to me is the way in which you spoke about your children and they're essentially beneficiaries, right? This is legacy. And I say this for people who are infatuated with their business and their real estate and their all these things that they've built, and that's awesome. But I just would be remiss if I didn't explain to you that you don't want to do that in absence of meaningful involvement with your children. That bond, that impartation, that observing where they actually are and not just preaching to them in the moment, that praying for them, that intentional imparting into them during these phases of their life while they have the privilege to be in your home. Don't miss that. Don't miss that moment
Yeah.
because they have expiration
Absolutely.
dates. And the level and intentionality that you put into these babies is what really sets my soul on fire. I'm not even, I'm just, it sets my soul on fire because you're sending your children out, right? And prepared. No, they're not perfect, but when you put that type of intention into their development, then you safeguard them from the world because they're able
Yes.
to have a sense of resilience. I'll share a personal story, and I would love to hear from you. Someone that was really really close to me, and we grew up together. Ended up going to be a medical doctor and all that. Went to school, was very bright but did not have the tools to be resilient. So when things happen in life, didn't know how to navigate emotions, didn't know where to hold, didn't have anybody really to hold it. And and then they ended up turning to alcohol, right? You turn to the vices of the world because you're just trying to ease the pain. And a
Cover
lot
it
of
up.
you know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
you're in medical school and everybody's proud of you and all the things, right? But if that inner harmony is not intact, you all, it doesn't matter what it looks like on paper. Eventually, you will crumble. You gotta have infrastructure, and that's the inside job,
Absolutely.
you know. So I can go on that soapbox forever. I said all that to say thank you for being a model of what it looks like because there's so very few, and that's why I created this space is so that we can have more conversations like this. So a lot of my conversations is going to be just you unpacking what that looks like. So you mentioned a couple of things. I think sometimes when we talk about it, it's an abstract, even in the church, it's very abstract to me. It needs to be more. What do you mean when you say that? What does that look like?
Mhm.
So when you have
Absolutely.
8 children and they're all in the home,
Yes.
there are all 8
Yes.
children in the home, and what was the key thing for you when you think about, "Man, I'm carrying all of this, all these personalities at
Man.
different time, different, different growth stages of growth." Like,
Yeah.
how are you navigating the relationship, right, and keeping that in a sacred place, while at the same time giving them the accountability, because that takes a different posture sometimes, you know? To get the outcomes that you know that they can achieve. as a mom?
That's a great question. Every day's different. And some days are great and some days are challenging. But at the end of the day, my constant reminder is it is my full duty and responsibility to raise them up in a certain way. So on the hard days, there's days where I start homeschooling. And I said, today it ain't happening. It's just not. They're off. They are off. And I say, I can push them and I can say, we're going to do it and it's going to be a war. Or I can say, okay, new approach. All right. So today might be learning through discovery. So being able to be flexible in where they are and more importantly, remembering what God called me to do, which was to educate. I never would have known that this was the path that he was going to order my footsteps to do, but he did. And I'm so grateful. And on the hard days, I just talked to my goddaughter yesterday and she was pulling up. She just started homeschooling too.
You had 8
And she
kids
said,
and a goddaughter? Lord have mercy.
oh,
That's crazy.
I got multiple godchildren. She said I can't go in the house right now. I can't go. I gotta give myself 10 minutes." I said, "And you should do that. You
Uh-huh.
gotta clear your mind. You gotta prep for it. You can't just walk in." I used to do that though. I used to just walk in and go. And then you know what happens? Sir, okay, I'm gonna take this 10 minutes. I'm gonna listen to some worship music. I'm gonna do something completely different. I just need to breathe a little bit. Now I can go in
Reset.
and now I can be receptive to whatever is about to happen because my kids range in age from 23 to 6, and I have my grandbaby here too, who's 1. So we got adults, we got teenagers, we got girls, we got boys, we
Multi-generational.
got yes, we got some temper tantrums going. Is you don't know what today's going to bring. So you have to be prepared. And some days it's all right. We're going to go outside and play. We're just going to go outside and play
I
and
love
being flexible in that and being okay with them being who they are. Now, some people may see my kids and say, oh my God, but they're growing and they're developing in their season of life. This is not their end all story. I remember my third oldest son. He said, it was probably a year after he graduated. He said, Mom, he said, when you said you was homeschooling us, I was so mad. And I said, oh my God, this is going to be horrible. He said, but I want to say thank you. He said, oh, I don't know where I would have been or if I even would have graduated from high school if you didn't make that decision for me. And so one day I was overwhelmed. I said, I'm sending everybody back to school. And
it.
he said, Mom, you can't do that. I said, I know. He said, don't do that. Whatever I need to do to help so you don't do that. Because it was an overwhelming day. I'm human at the end
Yeah.
of the day, and there are days that are very overwhelming. My mom has early onset dementia, so she'll call back to back to back to back to back, and I'm trying to homeschool. And I might have set them up to do their lesson, and I might be on a call working one-on-one with a client, and my mom's calling back to back to back to back to back, and
Girl,
I
this
just
is
have
the
to
real
breathe.
right here, girl. This
I
is
just have to
real
breathe.
talk. This is real
So
talk,
God is the anchor. He's the anchor.
you know?
On the days I cry, I'm crying to him. That's who I cry to. God, I don't know what to do. I literally will say, I don't even know what to do. I don't know. And he never has failed me in showing me or putting the people or putting something up on the screen or I'm driving down the road to say, this is what you do. And that has kept me together. My husband, on the hard days, he still shows up
Yeah.
on the hard days, and he shows his appreciation too of what I do.
And that makes
And
sense.
that means
Yeah.
the world, it's
You know,
just
another thing I
not taken
noticed
for
too
granted.
that you said that really, I look for threads, you all, and this is what I want those who are listening. By now, if you've been following me enough, you've trained your brain to look for threads in people's story. And because even when the person is telling the story, it's so natural to them that sometimes they don't even catch the thread because everybody's getting something different. If we were to watch a movie, you could even say the same part that stood out, but it's gonna be for a different reason. That's why I love to hear people's stories. And the thing that really reigns supreme is that you postured yourself. Not only did you go to God in prayer, but then when you came out of prayer, you postured yourself in attentiveness. And that's where a lot of us miss the mark. Is because when you're attentive, you're prepared for God to send you the answer anyway. It through any measure. You don't know how he's gonna send it. Could a person could be through your child, your 3-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, I that I have to speak on that. I have a 10-year-old, and one day he said, "Mama," he told me this when he was 8. He said, "You see YouTube?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're supposed to be on there. That's what God said you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be teaching people on there, Mom." And I said, "What you mean? You know YouTube?" "Yes, I know YouTube." "And you teach us?" I said, "Yes, son. You're supposed to teach on YouTube." And he will prophesize all over this house. He'll just say little things. Even my 7-year-old, he'll say,
You know YouTube?
"Mom," yeah, he said, "You know YouTube?"
Yeah.
And so my 7-year-old, he'll say it too. He uses your kids, and one thing I'll say is, raising teenagers and young adults is one of the most challenging tasks I have had.
Yeah.
And I will say this because this is something I wish I really woulda leaned into and really listened and just believe. When you think they're not listening, they 100% are listening.
Oh my gosh.
It will come full circle.
Mm,
Just keep doing what you know is right. Keep pouring into them what you know they need, and keep trusting and keeping faith in God and praying over them consistently and constantly. There's been so many almost life altering situations that is very evident that God went before them and shielded them and protect them from that hurt, harm, and danger. So
yeah.
stay proactive in that no matter what, and never stress and worry because you already gave it to God. So let him do the rest. Because there were seasons I would do that. And I'd be like, I talked to you about this. And
Yeah.
this ain't what we discussed.
Yeah. We think
But
it we
then he
go
says, let me handle this. I
yeah.
got this.
Yeah.
So just stay reverent in that.
I love that so much, and I love that you use the word trust because even when you see behaviors that we've dealt with this, I prayed about this, we've talked about this, and you still see the
Yeah.
behaviors. It's trust that you hold on to that it's working. You're trusting that your consistency will pay off, and
Yeah.
I love the fluidness. That is also something that we teach in Peace Driven Leader is that you have to define your rhythm. And if you have definitive things that are happening throughout your week, anchor those things. You know, your kids got therapy on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You know, this is happening. And, you know, you got to pick up your kid. My daughter just started dual enrollment. She gets her license in 2 weeks. We're counting down. So we're taking her to school and then college and then work and even all that stuff in there. And it's like, you know, you have those set things in this season that you have to do. So you weave your flow around those things so that you can keep your instead
Mhm.
of trying to force it. Like you said, oh, okay, I already see what kind of morning it's gonna be. Boom. Pivot.
Shift.
What I'm not
Yep.
gonna do, I'm not gonna try to put
Right.
a triangle in a circle. We're not doing that,
Mm-mm.
you know?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Fallible, the fluidness is what peace driven leadership is all about because that's what it is. It's like you're not hard anchored into what you have in mind, but you're submitting into what God is doing. You're trusting that everything
Yes.
that's happening is happening for you to teach you something. You're looking for the messages. You're posturing yourself. You're resetting as often as you need. This conversation,
Yes.
you all, is probably the most um potent conversation when it comes to all of the nuggets of peace driven leadership. Like I've never spoken to someone that every word that's coming out of your mouth, it is like peace driven leader.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that. That's something, sometimes, and that's reassuring for me because in when you're going through the motions, it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Um, my last almost year, so on May 1st, my life changed. My business changed, everything changed. It was my mom's birthday, and my daughter had surgery on the same day. And I came home, and my mother was not who she normally was. And I gave her a shower, all this, ended up having to call 911. She was in the hospital a week, rehab 6 weeks, ended up in long term care and has been there permanently, where she lived with me before, and I was her caregiver in that season. And before this, God kept saying, this is what I need your business to be. And I said, okay, okay, I'm gonna do it. 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 God, and I just, I listened and was like, I'm going to do it. I'm gonna do this, God. Mom is in long term care, and long term care is $5,700 a
Oh
month.
yeah. Oh yeah. It's
Um,
when you said it, I was like, whoo. That's one thing I like to
Yes.
educate people on with long-term care, you all. People don't realize
Yes.
how expensive it is.
It is
Need it.
very expensive. So mom had long-term care insurance, and I'm like, "Thank you, Jesus." Mind you, I found it the day before she was admitted because she had dementia, early onset, but she wasn't remembering to do things. So, in November, it stopped paying. It stopped paying, and I'm like, "What's going on?" I've called. They said, "Oh, this is all you need to do. This is all you need to do." I call in January. They said, "Oh, the policy, she it's a paid up policy, meaning she stopped paying it." What do you mean she stopped paying? That's not my mom. So what happened was there was no agent who followed up with her annually to ensure where she was, nor did they put an alternative contact on there, which should have been me to say, hey, there was this lapse in policy. Uh, and so here we are, 5,700 additional a month,
Oh
and
my
trusting
god.
God to
Shonda.
pave the way. And he said, I told you a year ago that you needed to teach people about this. Now I'm really about to show you why you got to teach people about this
Oh,
and
my.
how important it was. He said, your mom thought she had it all planned out, and she did to the best of her knowledge and capabilities. But there wasn't that person who said, every year I'm going to follow up. And I'm going to meet your whole family. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this and ensure that all the things were in place. And if something dropped, there was a backup plan, which had me change my whole niche, my whole initiative, and it's being obedient to God, where my husband's like, I don't understand. I said, God told me to do this. He said, okay. I said, I have to change the narrative of where I'm going, and I have to talk to caregivers and people about where they are and making sure they have things in place for their caregivers. Because my mom, she did, but there wasn't the person who ensured that it was in good standing. They sold her the policy and they were out, you know? And so for me and my business, I said, I will not be like that. My team will not be like that. And so education in this space of really understanding what this looks like, because I've had clients say, oh, I got that figured out. So
Huh?
did my mom.
Oh, yeah.
So did my mom. So did my dad. And that was fighting bells and whistles to get him approved to be in a facility. And then they said, it was time for hospice. So we never got to that point. So you got to be obedient to God when he says to be obedient, because I was just like, okay, God, in a minute, I'm going to focus on that. But if I had done it sooner, I would have been more prepared myself on what's to come right now in this season. And so it's been a whole
Right.
mindset shift, focus shift for my kids, for my education and how I teach people, my events that I'm hosting, what I'm pouring into women now to be prepared for this. Again, I'm an only child. I had no idea. So a lot of things happened through me. It's my first. So I was the first one to lose my dad and go through that whole situation out of my immediate family with my cousins and stuff. And then it's like, so what? And God put me in that position so that I could pour into somebody else when they went through that season of
You
having to
told us that.
experience that.
Yeah,
So
this is
yeah,
so good.
it's it's uh it's a
I
God thing.
yeah, it that you just don't even like so much when you're sharing. There's so many testimonials, and I hope you all are capturing what's for you because when you speak, there's so many nuggets. I'm so glad you listened to your son.
Yeah.
You did that YouTube, right? You do have YouTube.
It's in the making. It's in the
Okay,
making. It's
you gotta
building
put
up.
it together.
It's
So make
definitely
sure
being worked out.
yeah, good stuff. Because I would love for you to take a moment and to share in a way where people can be somewhat prepared and know what to think about things that you didn't think about until after you saw your father transition and then your mother, because I've been feeling that even for myself, like as you're getting over 40, you're hitting that sandwich. And um my thing is, and I know that there's people that can connect with this, is that when you have parents who have I think especially that generation, it's like they're private with that, like, you don't get that,
Oh my gosh.
you know what I mean? So you're, like, tiptoeing, like, "I need information, I need to." I got and it's tough
Yes.
it's even though they know I'm the most responsible one, like, I we have 4 kids, and my sister passed away at 27. My
Mm,
brother is diagnosed with schizophrenia. My other brother is not doing I'm the only
wow.
one. And so it's like, it makes me feel uncomfortable that they still haven't shared this important information. My mom is much more open than my dad as far as, like, just getting their doctor, just getting listed their prescription, knowing who is their like, so how did you have that how did you
Mhm.
navigate your way in to help to put them in position? Because they feel together. It's like they feel like, "No, I got it," because the ego.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So both my parents are very much like that. My dad was more open and candid with me because he knew he was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, so he knew. So he would tell me, this is
I got a
here,
feeling
this is
that my
here, this is
dad
there.
I got a feeling my dad is diagnosed, and he hasn't even shared it. That's what my spirit is telling me,
Mm,
that, they
wow.
deal with sicknesses and they won't even that's the
So
thing.
that's my whole family. And
What is that about?
My dad's side of the family, my cousins and I, we talk about this all the time, and we've made a vow that we're not going to do that. If something's wrong, we are going to reach out and communicate that. So for my dad, he found out his justification was I was pregnant and he didn't want me to go into preterm labor. So it
Yeah.
was around March or April that I think that he found out. My baby was due in July, which was my 10-year-old, and his name is Messiah. And he said, he told me on Father's Day, and my dad, those of you who know him, is very a jokester. He was like, yo, I got the big C. That's all he said. And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "You heard me. I got the big C." And I'm like, "Dad, what does that mean?" Mind you, my dad had already had cancer before and had beat it. So he was just like, "I got it." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "I got cancer again. Like, I told you I got the big C." Like, that's how he told me on Father's Day.
Wow.
And I'm 8 months pregnant. And so anyway, fast forward, as time progressed, even when I had my son in July, he still took care of him, up until I say January when we started ER visits picked up and all that kind of stuff. My dad ended up transitioning in March. It was 10 years this past March. But I think because my dad knew what was going on, he was more transparent with me and sharing things. Um, but he didn't let me know everything. It got to a point where I was like, I need to see the medical records. I need to see this because he wasn't going to disclose it to me. And originally, I wanted to be a doctor. So I went down nursing for a little bit. I've always kind of self educated myself in the medical space. And I started reading the charts and I saw for myself what was going on. Um,
How did that
and I think that's the
feel when
only
you
reason.
see it?
Um,
How did
okay. So I'm a daddy's girl,
Me too.
hands down, 100%. And I had a cousin who was going through the same thing with her dad with the same diagnosis. And her dad and my dad was cousins. And I said, "What do I do? I don't like." She said, "Enjoy every day and stop thinking about it." I said, "Okay." She said, "Do what you always did."
That's it.
I said, "Okay." And that's what I did.
That's it.
The end was very hard, very hard. Me yelling, screaming in hospitals. Like, what am I supposed to do? And it became more selfish until I accepted, like, my dad is suffering, and that's not okay. Um, and trust in God. I did go into a pretty deep, dark depression for about 4 years after that,
4
and God kn
years.
yeah, I
How did
did.
your
I
kids
didn't know how
how did your
I they never knew. They never knew. It was quiet, it was silent, it was a lot of time in the car when they went to sleep, but God knew, and that's why he sent me my baby. Because that kept me I gotta nurse this baby, I gotta take care of this baby, a baby, my other kids were a little bit older, they were still elementary age, but I gotta take care of this baby, I gotta do
You
this
say that
thing.
your children, each of them come to teach you and to support
Yeah.
you in a different way.
Yes, yes, and, and I'll let you know how God was intentional. When I became pregnant, I prayed for a boy 'cause my dad really wanted, us to
Well,
have a boy, and
okay.
I didn't know anything about my dad's diagnosis, and he wasn't diagnosed at that time, and, I remember I was teaching at the time, we had professional development, and the professional development was over. My husband and I kept trying to go round and round about the name of this baby. And I wanted to name the baby Malachi. And he said, no, we're not naming the baby Malachi. I got a cousin named Malachi. We're not naming the baby Malachi. Then we went, it was some other names, but I really want to name this baby Malachi. And I was standing in the hallway of the school and I heard God say, Messiah. And I looked around just like this because it was so clear. And I came home. Now, mind you, me and my husband went round and round about every name. I said, babe, God told me to name him Messiah. And he sat there, he said, all right. And that's how I knew that every child is a blessing. Every child is intentional and for a specific God-given reason. But Messiah was given to me and my husband during this time because it was new and it hurt. Sobbing, hurting, aching pain that I have never experienced before. And trying to keep my mother up in good temples. They've been married almost 40 years. Um, it was so challenging. The most challenging thing I've done in my life. And what I kept hearing was my dad saying, I've given you everything I can give you. You're okay. That is one of the last things he said to me. Um, One of the last things, the very last thing he said to me was, I love you, baby girl. That was the last words he uttered. Uh, so I carry that is he told me, he gave me everything. So here we go. Um,
Wow,
with my
I can't,
so
I
that's
can't,
just
like, you just I can't. Can't take I'm too full. It's only been less than 20 minutes and I just
yeah.
start that YouTube. That's all I can say. But I'll say,
Yeah.
um, your dad said something that this was a legacy moment right here. Your dad said something that is my personal desire. I want to be able with confidence to say, remember what I taught you. I taught you everything you need to know. That
Yep.
right there, what he shared with you, that comes from a knowing that I gave this parenting thing the best I could.
And he did.
You know what I
And he
mean?
did.
You say something
Hands
like
down.
that, it's like that was my word, and that's what I wanna be able to say. Just
Yes.
remember what I taught you. You're good. You got everything you need. And when you are talking about parenting, it's such a legacy call. And it's just unfortunate that society waters down motherhood and waters down fatherhood. Like it's just some made shift type of role. But it
Yeah.
what the highest level, when you talk about kingdom, it is the highest assignment that you have to be able to impart in another human being that's going to literally pass on your legacy, the principles, standards, and
Mhm.
values, and expand it across decades and lineages of other humans. Like it doesn't get
Yeah.
than that, the only
Yeah.
shallow idea of it is real estate, but it's shallow. It doesn't have the heart and
Mhm.
soul in it the way children
Yes.
does. So for you to say that he said that 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 lets me know that's my goal. It's equivalent to me like, "Well done, my good and faithful." Like, it's that
Absolutely.
seal, like, I did it, go.
Yes.
You got what you need, I'm confident. And you literally
Yeah.
did
He
it now,
said it with confidence.
and then it's like it's transfers, a confident transfer. He said it with confidence and imparted that confidence into you.
And it took a while for it to resonate. Mind you, he told me this while in the ICU. He said, because I said, what am I supposed to do? And he's looked at me right in my eyes, and I look exactly like my dad. He said, I've given you everything. You're good. You got it.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at him, and in that moment, I'm like, I am not good, and no, I don't got it. But um, he must have had some very candid conversations with his siblings. He must have had some very strong conversations because my uncle, um, who I lost about 3 years ago, he would call me every 3 to 4 months and said, "I'm calling to let you know your dad's proud. Keep doing it. Keep going. You got it." And I hung on to that. Um, that was so important and everything to me. Um, it was big and God knew I needed it. And his siblings continue to do that. My aunt reached out the other day and said, I'm so proud of you. Keep going in
Powerful.
those hard seasons. Um,
That's
because
powerful.
it's hard, you know? And so legacy is more than which I teach generational wealth and I teach building money and doing it. It's so much bigger than that.
Oh my gosh,
It's
yes.
so much bigger than that. It's education, it's principles, it's morals, it's life lessons, it's all of that. Money is just a fraction of
Oh,
what a legacy is.
yes.
It's an important piece, but it's not everything.
It's not.
It's
Yeah.
not everything.
This
So,
is so good.
yeah,
I appreciate you so much. I mean,
yes,
this is one of my life's goal is to show people wealth creation through whole life integration because
yes,
it's
yeah,
we don't really have
that's it.
wealth creation until that whole life. What your dad did, I'm telling you, I know I would have thoroughly enjoyed him. I know I wish I could
Oh,
I
everybody did.
yeah,
He was a character.
yeah, I know I would and just that's how I think. The fact that he had these candid conversations with his siblings to be there for you in his absence, that is love.
Man,
That's like the epitome of like that's like some Godfather type stuff. Like I love that.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Like
It has
bond
carried me these last 10 years, and I
is so
see
powerful.
God slowly handing me that torch, as
Yeah,
being a mom,
yeah.
even other women in my life, and just they'll be like, "Wow, my good friend, my good friend of over 20 years," she said, "God is just shifting in you." He said, "It's just amazing." I wanted to circle back to my mom, and my mom was never transparent with me. She never was, because I didn't answer
Polar
that, and
opposite.
I think it yes, and I wanna say that because you said, "What's the one thing to take away?" At right now, at the age that I'm at right now, which I'm 44, I'll be 45 in July, I tell my kids everything they need to know because I don't know my day, my time, my hour. I tell them my passwords. I tell them everything they need to know at their age. I give them what I know they can handle, but I am not transparent. And I am transparent. I'm sorry, I said I'm not. One thing me and my girls have been talking about, including my daughter-in-law, because I'm experiencing this and no one ever talked to me. I didn't know it was even a thing, this perimenopause. And
Yo,
I tell
yeah.
them
Woo.
every single thing, everything. I said, because no one told me and it hit me so hard and I thought I was losing it and it was about to be over for
It's
me, but
real.
it wasn't. And my mom was very private. So when I go back to her having to go into long-term care, thank God I started memorizing her social because I didn't know anything. So I said, I need to memorize it because I say, Mom, we need to sit down and talk. I don't know. I am your only child. I don't know anything. I don't know bank accounts. I don't know where bills are due. I don't know any policies. I don't know anything. I'll know when to tell you. I'll know when to tell you. I'll know when. Well, she never knew when to tell me. So here I am, all this stuff is happening. I'm digging through trying to find insurance card, but God works it out. So never stress or worry. My other best friend is in Medicaid. So I called her. I said, girl, this is the social. I need your help. I don't know where none of mom's stuff is. We went to high school together. She found everything, found out she had terrible insurance. So she hooked me up with one of the people on her team to change all of that. Um, and then I was just looking up all kind of stuff, going through. I got into her bank account. I started seeing what would have been withdrawn from what accounts to try and piggyback and going through old mail and finally found that long-term care policy. I'm still in the midst of like, I know my mom, she was big on insurance. So I know she has that stuff out there, but I'm still trying to navigate and find everything. Because I really saw back in 22 is when it really started to surface about her memory. And so when I first noticed it, I just tried to start jotting down things and getting notes. So be transparent with your kids. Don't be a burden to them unknowingly.
Yeah.
And without my mom knowing it, no guilt of her own, she dumped a 100 pounds of bricks on my shoulders by being secretive,
That's right.
me sitting at kitchen counters just crying like, God, I don't know what to do and I can't fail my mother because she never failed me. I
Yeah.
can't compromise her
Wow.
quality of care because she never compromised mine. What do I do, God? And so that leads me to be transparent. Sure, there are things everybody knows they kid. They know what they can handle and not handle, and they know it. Give it to them in bits and pieces. Let them experience life alongside you. My oldest daughter is 19, almost 20. This business I'm running Taylor Essential Life Partner, she is right alongside with me. She's on the calls with the
That's
web
it.
developer.
That's
She's
it.
taking the notes. My event in July, she's like, Mom, I'm doing that event for you. You're not planning anything. And I said, Excuse me? She just told me this last night. She said, I'm doing it. You got so much you're carrying. And that's powerful.
Oh my
You
God.
have to
You,
let them know. Let your kids
Rashonda,
in. Stop,
listen,
stop
I can't
keeping
with
stuff
you.
away.
I can't with you. Listen, woman of God. So
Yes,
so many nuggets. I'm just gonna just pull my favorite. That last
sure.
thing you said about your daughter, this is what I mean when it's pouring into your children is the greatest legacy you make. Do you understand the work that she poured in the beginning? And I used to feel bad
My
about it
God.
because my business did not do what I wanted it to do for the first several years. I celebrated 16 years
Man,
this month, and God had to just
wow.
shift me. And it happened in a therapy session because He's like, "You planting seeds in your children in your home, and you're looking for them in your business." And he was like,
Yeah.
"You know what I mean?" And I'm like, "Oh," he said, "You just said that your greatest accomplishment is your children and your family. This is where your harvest is gonna be." And it was when I did that is when I shifted to parent leadership because I realized as I was doing
Yeah.
business coaching and all this kind of stuff is that I was doing them a disservice. That in order for you to truly live a full life, a lot of our leaders, especially our women, they weren't even interested in leadership. They just wanted that one area of their business. They just wanted wealth because they had this trauma associated with this. So it was a quick fix. And so what I
Yeah.
understood is they didn't even want to deal with themselves and their full leadership. But once I talked
Mhm.
about their kids and they got all these issues with their kids, and my kid won't do this and won't do this. Okay, well, the best way to get your kids to be an influential powerhouse leader that you know they can is by modeling better. Right? So that
Yes.
because
Yes.
they've done it for themselves, but when they know that doing
Mhm.
it for their kids, because I have rising leader, curriculum and stuff for kids, but it starts with you. You gotta put that mask on
Yes.
first, and then you can model the proper things to your kids. Then you can be transparent, like you said, because that right there, your baby girl coming to you and saying, "No, mom, you're carrying too much." She's identified on her own. She sees it, she says it. That's a leadership quality. And she's like,
She
"No,
is.
you're caring too much. And not only am I sharing with you the problem, I'm stepping in and being the solution." That's leadership. That's how you know you're
Yes.
starting the right things in these children. This is what you need. Because
Yes.
even with the insurance, and I'm an advocate, for insurance, you leave money to them. And so many people can connect with this. I have clients that have $1 million portfolios and it does them nothing. They give it, their kids
Yep.
sprinkle it. I just saw a client
Yes.
today
That part.
millions of dollars. He's setting them trust fund on I saw him on the side of the street stumbling. All that money,
Yeah.
all that money.
Gone.
I want people to understand it's not just about the money and passing down and having the trust and being your own bank and all that sounds really good. But you gotta impart into those babies because they'll turn around and pour back into you in a way that no property, no portfolio could ever do. That
Yes.
ah,
So to that point, so that's what I teach, right? My original business model was becoming your own banker. That was it.
mm,
Teaching you how to pay off debt, eliminate debt, using your policy and growing with and acquiring
mhm.
wealth.
Oh yes.
Even then, my narrative was like, I can teach you all of this. It means nothing because if you don't teach your kids or get your kids with me to learn it, you did all this in vain.
In vain.
All of
Oh
my
my
children know the process. All of them know what to do. They all know. And I have adult kids. So I know my babies will be okay because every last one of my older kids knows what to do, how to do it. And that's why I said, I'm growing this business, but it means nothing if I can't pass it to my kids, not so they can financially gain, but so my clients' kids can continue to be educated in the way that they are supposed to be, not to
that's
come and close a deal
that's
because
legacy.
education's the key. And
That's
that
it.
is so, so important.
That's it.
My
This is
second oldest girl, the same thing. And all my kids are natural born entrepreneurs by trade. They have their own they have multiple businesses. So
uh,
my baby girl has a business she's starting, but my husband and I are an entrepreneur. So that's all they know.
that's
They
all
don't know another way of
yeah,
life.
you're
They
right.
have their own heat press and embroidery business. My husband has a trucking logistics company. My son dispatches and handles all that for him. I do the HR. So all they know, even though they remember me teaching, especially my younger boys, they don't know anything. They don't know what it means to go to work. Like my husband works, but it's like, oh, he'll be back in a little bit because he goes to work at
Yeah.
night. But they have been raised in an entrepreneurial home all their lives. So all they see is mommy on call. They don't even know.
Do.
Like,
Yeah.
and I let all my clients know, like, my sons might pop in and I
Yeah.
might have to hit pause or mute because it is WWE headquarters around here. And so everybody cracks up, but that is all they know. I have never been uh, kept them out of it. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, let's go, let's go. So they don't know anything any different
Yeah.
than this upcoming and this up uh coming up as an entrepreneur
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
And
It's in their blood. It's in their
you got to
DNA.
teach them.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to say, because this is where I lacked self confidence when I was young, very, very much so. I was a 4-eyed cow. You're not
Mhm.
really black. You're a wannabe. They tried to cut my hair. They tried to do all these things, right? So my confidence was very um, meek and quiet outside. And so I said, I never wanted my kids to be like that. And my dad did everything for me. I was his one and only baby girl. So everything was done for me. And I was extremely smart and I soared in learning. And that's what I love to do. No wonder why I'm in education. But I said, I don't want my kids to be like that. So from a very young age, as soon as they could talk good, if they wanted something, you're going to ask for it yourself.
That's right.
Mommy's not gonna go ask you, tell the waiter, go up to the counter,
Oh,
ask
yeah,
for
I'm
what you
definitely
want,
raising that. Oh,
do
yes.
this, do
Absolutely.
that. My second youngest, I remember we needed extra trash cans or something, something simple. I said, "I need you to call the city and
Yeah.
tell them we need an extra
Oh
trash
my
can." 10 years
god.
old,
That's it. That's what I oh my god, it's
cooking,
3
all
years.
the things. So I
Oh,
had them do
I love it.
everything themselves. They would get so mad. And
That's it.
my oldest daughter, she was so shy. She would have her baby sister do
My
everything
oldest
for
daughter was
her.
very shy too. I would have her order pizza and go in there and get oh my god and some one of the pizza people they gave her free pizza. They're like, "This is so cool." She was not and I would
Yep.
be watching her, but she would be in there and she
Yeah,
would
absolutely.
and that builds I mean, it builds it. It builds
Yeah, and she was probably the shyest one,
confidence.
and she's not that
Now
anymore.
exactly, it's the
She
exact
she
opposite.
would literally pass it to her little sister and say, "Maya, can you call?" I said, "Stop. Stop doing it. You're gonna call." Now, my sons, all 3 of them are bold and confident in who they are. They're a stranger to no one. The 3rd oldest is really no stranger to no one. And I don't have any areas of concern with any of my kids, even my youngest ones, as wild and crazy and rambunctious as they are. I
When it
said, this is going to develop into
yeah,
God-fearing men that nothing's going to shake them. Like literally, my 6-year-old will walk up to a 20-year-old and it's no face, not like some kid. Oh my God,
yeah,
mm-mm.
yeah, right
So,
beside the mom,
expose your kids, protect them, but be
exposure.
alongside them
Oh,
and have them do it. Have them speak up.
yeah,
Have them ask for what they want.
yeah,
Have them order at the restaurants.
yes,
Have them participate in your businesses. Have them, my kids, I have them making the follow-up phone calls.
that's right,
Have them
and I
do
have
it.
I have my kids do the confirmation calls, my
Yeah,
7-year-old. My 7-year-old reads
have
the
them
script
do it.
and did the confirmation call, so get them meaningfully
Yep,
involved. These for those of you who are listening,
that's the game changer.
absolutely. If
And
you're
be
listening,
transparent with them.
absolutely. Y'all, this I know this is the longest podcast I've ever done. I couldn't stop it. I just couldn't stop because it's just so so
It is. It's a
just
lot.
know that this is a gift. This episode is a gift for you to listen to again, especially for those who are moms and dads, fathers. Seeing how her father moved and led is a legacy in and of itself. Identify what your values are. That's why I always to the cows come home. Your principles, your standards and values, it is what shapes and directs your path.
Everything.
And so if you notice a lot of her values came out into her children. That's what we do. So get clear about what yours are so that you can be more intentional about what you're imparting into your children. And then give them space to develop their own principles, standards. Now, don't force
Yeah,
yours on your kids. They'll
yeah,
evolve, but because they see it, they get to get a front row seat into how you live out yours. And that's what peace driven leadership is all about. So listen, if this wasn't the perfect example when I say it's not about how much you carry, it's about how well you carry it. This is it.
man,
This is it.
yeah,
So let this really be that defining moment for you and reflect, meditate, take a moment before you go back out into this busy, chaotic world. Stay
yes,
here in the lounge in the stressless universe. Stay in this energy for just a little bit longer and allow God to speak to your spirit about what your next step is. There's an inspired action that He is calling you to do, whether it's get on the phone, look at that policy, reach out to Richonda and see what it is that you need to do with that. If it's, being more transparent with your kid, what commitment are you going to make? We said so much. There's something that God is wanting you to take action on in the next 24 hours. Do that.
absolutely.
And as I
Yeah, be
close it down,
obedient.
say with you, listen, peace driven leadership is not something you find, it's something you design. And now is your point, your moment to design it. Until next time, see you in the next episode. Bye bye for now.